Hi guys, Pretzelman945 here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am going to be making a list of my top 10 favorite female characters in all of fiction. Um, a good majority of these are protagonists. A couple of them are not. So yeah, let's just get into it. At number 10, I have Toru from Fruits Basket. Um, I love Toru because she is just such a lovable, funny, bright ball of energy of a character. Um, and her um her interactions and her conversations and the efforts that she makes to help people, it feels so real and genuine um and you can just really get the sense of what like a fantastic person Toru is. The fact that she's able to do that and like the way that she helps every other character along while also having increasingly complex relationships with a ton of other characters, especially Kyo. It makes horror like extremely like just captivating to follow on multiple levels. Um, Number nine is Robin. Um, Not only is Robin my favorite anime waifu of all time, um, I love I think number one, Robin has like the what one of the best stories in One Piece. Maybe that'll make it be its own video, favorite One Piece backstories. But um, I adore how number one, her backstory is absolutely tragic as fuck, and um like her entire like character moment where she says that she wants to live the um part where she like, commits her will and decides, she finally makes up her own mind and realizes that she can have her own life with her friends and do what she wants. It feels so satisfying, I guess. Because it really feels like um she is affirming herself as a real person instead of her brain being shackled like it was throughout her entire childhood. And just the way that that entire part of the story is written around Robin is just great. It's the catalyst for making uh, probably one of the best Straw Hats easily, I think. Um, and number eight is Violet from Violet Evergarden. Um, excuse me. Um, Now I love Violet because I love the one of the things that when I was watching Violet Evergarden for the first time that just really sucked me into the concept and premise of the show was the entire idea behind Violet's character, like being this kind of emotionless um person who knows nothing but war and has to like relearn all aspects of society besides that and like adjust to something new while having these memories from the past it doesn't quite know what to make of. Um, and I think that the way that that climaxes in like, her interactions with other people help build up her capacity for emotions. Like in every single episode, nothing feels like a waste of time. There's not one of the many, many things that's just absolutely brilliant about Valiant Iron, but like every single episode never really feels like a waste of time because they all are doing some small part to also help further develop Violet's character, to like make her understand emotions and make her understand what feeling emotion is like. And on top of that, further understanding the concept of love through a lot of different angles. And I think the way that they tackle the different angles of love that Violet witnesses is really, really unique because, you have the rejection kind, you have like actual true love compared to like an arranged marriage. You have like parental love in two different ways as well. And the way that it climaxes with her realizing that she knew what the definition of love was all along and that Major Gilbert always loved her. Ooh, like, um, we talked about it on the most recent podcast episode about like the favorite anime moments, and that moment was on my list. For me, it's to be seen if I'll make my own video about that compared to just talking about it in the podcast episode, but um, the point is, it feels like such an amazing climax to Violet's character, and I love it a lot. Um, number seven is L or 11, whatever you want to call her from Stranger Things. Um, I think that 11, like, obviously, she's designed to be one of the main focal points of the show, so she has to be an extremely well-written character, but I feel like they really go fucking above and beyond for the way that 11 is written. In the first season, the like her struggles to like learn friendship, and like deal with her intense trauma at the hands of I'm only thinking of the actor's name, but like the evil doctor that's like when it was experimenting on her. Um it creates like such a very compelling and human situation that she has to learn to get through. And then in the second season, the way that she like confronts that fear by like, first off, like building a very, very like human relationship with Hopper, and then additionally, the like and then that eventually climaxes in her like confronting her past and like destroying the gate in the lab. And then in the third season, which is my personal favorite season of Stranger Things, I think that's like the peak of her character, because not that it's like bad scenes for, but I'll get to that. Um, I feel like the maturity arc that 11 goes through here makes like yet another compelling level to her character, like the confidence with which she's interacting with friends, and like to see her very much typical teenage relationship struggles with Mike was just it was fantastic. And in season four, I feel like, um, it not that her character was bad in season four, but like I feel like I feel like there was the kind of things gained in season three were a little bit lost. But um like her entire arc throughout season four is still fantastic because she has to it feels like she's suddenly like reawakening all the trauma of her past with like having to face Vecna and like the reveal of the truth that she was essentially behind it all. She was the one that like created the entire forgive me, I couldn't remember some of the details, but like um you know created the entire, I guess, situation and whatnot, that happened in the lab and like caused Vecna's existence and whatnot. Sorry for the cut. I had to answer a message. But to conclude, I love Eleven's character because her entire journey that she goes on about like essentially discovering like what it means to be a human. It's like a deeper version of what Violet goes through with like the emotions, but like this, it's like essentially like learning how to become her entire human, and that combined with like her struggles to use her powers, it's extremely captivating. It's why 11 was one of my favorite Stranger Things characters from the start. Um Number 6 is Arya. Um Now from Game of Thrones, Arya Stark. Now the reason that I love Arya so much is because I think she has one of the greatest solo journeys of any character that to go through. Um, I think in the beginning, like her connection with Ned Stark, I feel like there's a more special relationship there compared to like Ned with any of his other kids because I don't know. I just always got the vibe that there was like a different kind of special connection that was present there, which I am personally a big fan of. Um and lost my train of thought for a second. And then when Ned dies, I think that this becomes most present because in my opinion I feel like Arya's character journey is the one that's most, I guess, adversely affected by this plot twist. Um, and and I think it just makes for extremely compelling character writing because you get to see her at such a low point at so many different like perspective, like when we cut to her perspective in an episode, you see her at such a low point for a long time. And it never like nothing ever seems like it goes right for her because um, like at first she tries to like band with that like the group of I forget what they're called, but like the kids and whatnot, that she travels with before she eventually like rejects them out of her like own quest for revenge. Um and and then her entire, I guess, like mission with the Hound, where at first he's essentially just transporting her as hostage because he's a fugitive, to eventually their relationship evolving into a very like weird father-daughter slash big brother little sister type relationship that's extremely warped because Arya constantly mentions how the Hound's name is on her kill list, but it's not nearly as high priority as like the dozen other people that she needs to kill. Um, and then I guess like watching her entire revenge arc, it kind of feels satisfying in a very, I guess, disturbing way. Um, because you want to see the character succeed, but like I think the brilliance of how her arc is written is because you want to root for her character to succeed, but at the same time, there's something that almost feels inherently wrong about seeing the way that she goes about getting her revenge. Um, and I think like all that put together just makes like one of the most compelling revenge character arcs I've ever seen. Um, I will say she gets particularly worse in season 7 and 8 because I feel like there just isn't nearly as much with her character to do, and I think that her being the one to kill the Night King still makes absolutely no sense. But overall, like the good I think far outweighs the mediocrity of what happens in season 7 and 8. Um and number four is Malmo from Apothecary Diaries. As soon as I watched the first episode, I knew she would be very, very high on this list. And compared to every other character that has been talked about on this list and will be talked about on this list, Mau has my favorite personality. I love everything about Malmo's personality. I love her obsession with drugs, the way she tries to poison herself, the way she talks, her disgust with Jinshi that makes it very obvious. It's very funny. Her little like cat ears that come up when she gets like really, really into something. Um, her very clear connection to her father, um, her extreme sense of loyalty to all the concubines and whoever she happens to be serving, her disgust against the person that she doesn't know is her father until later on in the show. Um, the way that she feels so human when she eventually like lies about um learning about who her parents actually are and like her father and like everything that happens with that. Um and the pure inner joy that seems to unlock when she like dances and whatnot despite the fact that her legs are injured. The fact that he's supposed to feel a very real connection to Jinji will remain to be seen if that ends up being a romance or not. I have a feeling it might turn into that. But the way that, at least from season one, it seems to be just a very real emotional connection that's extremely satisfying between the two. Um, Apothecary Diaries is fucking brilliant. If you have not watched it, just watch it. Um, At number three is Freerun, and I talked quite a bit about this in my review of Freerun. But Freerun is like the entire focal point. So, similar to Mau Mau, like you get to experience all of these aspects of her personality, whether it's through flashbacks back when she was not as, I guess, receptive as an elf to like learning her sleeping habits and like how she likes to sleep in to like learning how she like learning about her obsession with grimoires. Like these little things that are revealed bit by bit and like how she can sometimes act extremely wise and other times extreme like even more immature than a 5-year-old. um, and I think the thing that just makes Freeland such an incredible character is that, like, in the entire brilliance of the show in general, is like you are following every step of her journey. You are like learning so many things about her as she goes on this journey of hers, and I've always been such a big fan of that. Um, Now, and number two, is Ahsoka. Now Ahsoka has for a long time been one of my favorite Jedi, and here's why. Um, from the very beginning in her introduction to the kind of mid Clone Wars movie, um, I think like, her short, rebellious personality, it creates like a fun dynamic between her and Anakin. I mean, um, and then the way that she, I guess, slowly builds connection with each of the clones as well as like other Jedi as she builds experience, and her rivalry with Ventress is very great and very satisfying. Mhm. Um, and also that series of episodes where she's captured, that's really good too. Um, my favorite thing is like the way that she builds such a intense and incredible friendship and connection with a lot of the clones, but like especially Rex. Um, it makes it very captivating to see, and like the way that she slowly gets stronger and the way she starts like being able to do lightsabers by season 3, like following her entire power development is just it's great. um and then like on top of that, like in season 5, like just seeing the incredibly intense, like series of doubts and feelings of betrayal that she goes through when she gets framed and murdered by the Jedi, and how that like ultimately climaxes in her leaving the Order. And then in season 7, like number one, while those middle episodes, there are some parts that are a little difficult to get through. I do appreciate what they were going for there, and I really like the angle that like she was still able to maintain her friendships with the two characters. I forget their names, but like the fact that she was able to maintain those friendships despite hiding the fact that she's a Jedi and the fact that that gets revealed. And I think the way that dynamic explored is really interesting to me. Um, and then like in the oh, those final four episodes, man, they're such a masterpiece. Like, um, number one, seeing her entire fight with Maul and like the way that Filoni is able to really explore the complex, intricate parallels um between the two characters is just it's one of so many reasons why that duel is just so incredibly captivating, and the way that she learns the truth about Anakin turns to the dark side, and then after that she has to deal with Rex's betrayal, but then she's able to save him, and then it goes back and forth, and she ends up like being able to save the clones, and then the finale is so tragic. Oh my goodness. um, and then like, also being able to see in Rebels, oh my God. Dave Filoni is such a fucking genius, I swear. Like, the way that, she is able, to kind of learn new things while she is still able to teach both Kenan and Ezra new things, mind you. She is able to learn new things herself from them. And, at the very end of it, she still remains convinced she is no Jedi, but she doesn't, at least my interpretation was she didn't hold nearly as much of a negative stigma against the idea of the Jedi. After what she learned in her experiences with Ezra and Kanan in Rebels. Um, and then just one of the best Star Wars scenes ever, I would argue, is like that confrontation between her and Vader, where you hear like Matt Lantern and James Earl Jones' voice. Oh my God, it was so peak. And then later, the way that Ezra saves her life, like using the world between worlds, it's fantastic. Um, And then, in the Ahsoka show, like, seeing her struggles with, like, training an apprentice and with the Mandalorian too, like, the way that she comes out of hiding and then, like, like, training an apprentice and everything like that, and her struggles with Sabine and such, it feels like weirdly cathartic because it feels so similar to her initial relationship with Anakin, and it's such a fun, like, reversion, um, and such a fun way to call back to that original relationship that started Ahsoka's entire character journey. Um, yeah, point being, Ahsoka is just a brilliantly written character. Like, from start to fucking finish. Um, anyway, but she is not quite my number one. Because my number one is, and I will also essentially at a later point be doing her she will get her an episode in the Seikaku Bunseki series, but because she's one of my favorite characters in all of fiction, specifically being number four on the list, and that is Siri. Um, so from the very moment that I started watching The Witcher, like the way that season one of The Witcher is um okay, it's fun. So anyway, as I was saying, from the very beginning, with The Witcher season one being split into like the three different perspectives between uh like Ciri, Geralt, and then Yennefer. Of the three, I was immediately hooked by series. Not like obviously I loved all three because I think The Witcher is a great show. Um, but immediately I really felt the most glued to series because um number one, she has to deal essentially with her entire family life. Like in just the first episode or something like that. Like, she has to deal with Calanthe dying and then she immediately gets captured. Um and like, just seeing that, like it's such a tragic beginning, I guess. And then like, you know, to see her slowly like, uncover like proofs about her power and whatnot. Um and this is all helped by the fact that like Freya Allen playing Siri, like I sincerely hope that Freya Allen as an actress like goes far in her career, and because I think that she could not have had a better start than playing Siri, because quite frankly, her performance as Siri is probably one of the best acting performances I've ever seen in any movie or show. Um, so I really hope like amazing things for her career in the future. uh, and like just in the first season, like seeing her interaction with a bunch of characters, like seeing her interaction with the elf. I cannot remember his name. Um, and then like just seeing the way that she travels around, like avoiding capture essentially, and having to deal with her realizations of power and her nightmares and everything like that. Um, and then like that moment when she finally meets Geralt in the end, and she knows that he's the right person. Oh my God, it's so satisfying. And then in season two, like seeing the father-daughter bond that develops between Geralt and Ciri is just it's fucking fantastic. I love their relationship so much. It feels so genuine and rich, and I love it. And just seeing them like journey together, and then like the way that they eventually like are forced to become separated again. um, and then also like seeing her journey with Yennefer is just it's also really satisfying because she like learns the values of being a lady. She learns how to use magic properly, which is something totally different. And it kind of feels like, she learns her Witcher part with Geralt. She learns her like sorceress part with Yennefer, and through both of them she's also learning how to control her power. Um and then on top of that, the way that the way that uh the way at like the end of season two, like the way that she gets like corrupted by the power of the monolith, and the way that she learns about like the wild hunt there after her and whatnot. um it's just, oh, it's amazing. um and then near the end of season three, when she gets separated alone in the desert again, and this is like the best part of Freya Allen's already brilliant performance of Siri, is like, and I have an even more profound opinion on this because I um somewhat recently reread Time of Contempt. Um so like those memories are very fresh in my mind. Like her struggles, like she goes through so many emotions, from like triumph to sorrow to rage, just utter defeat, to elation all over again. It's like this constant cycle of emotions as she has no idea where she's going, following icons that she thinks can help her but ultimately don't really lead to anywhere. um and then um um the way that that eventually climaxes with her like actually finding civilization, and then her ending up meeting the rats as well. Um and like her very, I guess, like the identity crisis that she goes through, where she like in the books, she's between like most of what happens in Bastion of Fire and like a decent portion of Tower of Swallow before she goes on her own again. Um, like I don't know what her like name is in that group, but she's not even written as Siri anymore, which is creates a really interesting effect because it's like, she's written as like not Siri, so it can become a little confusing when reading that perspective until you eventually like put the details together. Um, but like seeing her like how much of a connection that she builds to the rats as a group, and yet at the same time like they have such a very like especially between certain ones, they have a very disturbing and wrong relationship on lower levels, the details of which I can't remember super well because it has been a long time since I last read Baptism of Fire and Tower of Swallows. Um, and then like, the way that she finally gets away from them, and then she has to go like, discovering about the Tower of Swallows and like the old man and whatnot that helps keep her company, and then like the way that um like transitions into her discovering more and more about her powers and her privacy and destiny. And then like in the Lady of the Lake, the way that she like discovers her time traveling and whatnot. Um and also also I guess train of thought again. It's been a while since I recorded a video this long that wasn't a podcast episode. Um, oh, really, but whatever. Um, anyway, the way that it kind of transitions to like where she gets captured by Eridan and the Wild Hunt, and she has to go before the king, and essentially like is told that she'll be married to the king before the king dies, and the way that she actually develops a connection with the king in a way that's also kind of human, in like the way that like Eridan is the one that wants to do a full coup d'etat and then like just take over, and he's the one that wants to do even more horrible things to Siri, whereas the king would actually have been one to treat her kind of decently, even despite her position that she would be in. um and then moving to The Witcher 3, like the sections where you play as Siri are by far my favorite sections of the entire game, in the story, because you get to experience her very unique perspective to so many things, and her gameplay is just extremely fun and satisfying to do throughout the entire game. Um, and then the way that like, number one, the opening cutscene to The Witcher 3 between Geralt and Ciri is like one of the best openings to any game I've ever played. It's such a brilliant like introduction and way to set up the story. Um, and then just watching Geralt like his entire journey throughout the game to try and find Ciri, and then that moment near the end of the story when they finally are able to unite, and then seeing their chemistry together and like the choices that you can make as Geralt to like either improve or not really like help their chemistry as much. I just think it's fantastic, and the way that affects the ending that you get, it's brilliant. And everything about Siri is just it's just so fucking brilliantly written. Um, and that is why she is easily my favorite female character in all of fiction. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.